Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme 그런데 마치 착각을 이라 냉딩도 이책 제발하게 냉딩이나 라고 때문에 저런 마파를 받아 속도 냉딩이 속도를 하려 그래서 저 예산들 다 속잖아 다 공개해서 좋아해 다이 새나 근데 어마어마하게 배홍 텔라네 람스기네 키토바 데키토가 너무 다 버려 데키토는 세마는 다들 람스기네 키토는 봐도 이반이 자세자들이 시간을 놓아서 당내 되기 시간 놓으리 세기에서 저는 이기에서 시간 받는 거잖아 민족으로 내가 오늘 그래가 이 세송자 당연히 고소 그리기 오만들이 온 얘네들 비나 그리 봐도 수반이 맞아더니 양 대사하고 수반을 맞고 똑바로 살게 보고 뒤치받치 보이더래 간호 소파도 이반을 넣어서 수반을 넣어서 서서서다 서서서라는 대가 다 적어요. 얘는 좋아요, 말이에요. 여기 봐도 수반의 속나 뭐 여러 기와리 이런 것이 다 대장들이 라마 교신이 기와리 적어요. 선생님들 배고 앞에나 그래서 기와리 program이다가 다 기름이 되는 연구요리 이런 것으로 라마 박차를 되네 레게 파마 개와시만 통나 그때는 다들 박차들 차관제로 타더니 라사지 차관 사람들이 이 홍 세계 피고 우선 이게 홍이 줬던데 문을 좁고 어디서 좁아서 기대를 거예요. 그 주시에서 뭐 40세기 사원 교회에 걸쳐요. 대부분 300 왔다니 대이란 게 레를 감지 아니거나 라면 제네세 하자 이동마들 나와 sha는 있잖아 하와가 속성아 그리 지왕지를 너무 어디서 나오는데 그렇게 참고로 뒤치받치고 그래 너무 하자 친구를 저라는 것을 따라하고 또 그러지 대사단 대사단 게으름든 내신도 없이 말이 그니 봐도 이보다 수박하는 것 같아서 제 랑크 특권을 해지
So at the end of each of those 5 verses in the Fivefold Path, it says, apply yourself earnestly or make an effort in, for example, practicing the Yidam deity. And this term here, apply yourself earnestly, that means that until the fruition is attained, you have to make an effort. You have to make an effort in the practice of the Yidam deity, for example. And we already mentioned that before, that when every time you wake up from sleeping, for example, remember Chenrezig, or immediately wake up and you say Om Mani Padme Hum, and then in an instant recall Chenrezig. And if you're able to remember Chenrezig that very moment of waking up, then also you will be able to remember Chenrezig in the second bardo. And if you are, then with complete certainty, you will then actually go to his Pure Land. We always speak about going to Pure Lands. And that is when you actually then will proceed to that Pure Land. The mind becomes Chenrezig. It ripens into that flower of Chenrezig. So think of that in the moment you wake up. Normally, we wake up and first we have thoughts like, I have slept, or now I'm waking up, and things like that. And then after a few thoughts like that, then finally we think about Om Mani Padme Hum or Chenrezig. And if that is the case, then you will only be able to attain enlightenment in the third bardo as a Nirmanakaya. And there's a big difference here. So whether you will attain that in the second or the third bardo, you have to see for yourself. And there's actually no need to ask anyone questions about that. You can clearly see that for yourself, where you are at. And even if it is the third bardo, still there is a way to benefit sentient beings. When you take birth in the human world, for example, then you take birth having practiced the development stage in the deity yoga, but not remembering it right away. If you take birth in the human world, that is Nirmanakaya in the third bardo, then you might take birth as a guru or a spiritual teacher that is able to benefit sentient beings. So, and that comes from this motivation of, may I benefit all sentient beings, that we always give rise to. And so this is then the result of that. And now in the bardo then, normally when the consciousness is in the bardo, then due to the ordinary habitual imprints in the mind, one comes into the presence of those parents that one is karmically connected to, and one sees them in union. And just like now, we have that habit that when we see a couple in union, then desire arises. And how we can train in that now is that when that desire arises, then we instantly stop that thought of desire and exchange it for Hong. First of all, a wish to benefit sentient beings, and then that wish becomes the syllable Hong. And from this is where the qualities of the Nirmanakaya arise from. And then you are born as a Nirmanakaya that brings with one the continuum or the seed of bodhicitta, and then is able to teach the Dharma to others and so on. And then an ordinary being is different. If one is ordinary and one is driven by the force of karma and is to take birth again, then naturally one perceives one's future place of birth as something desirable. One is drawn there. So that birthplace appears as something desirable. And because of that, without any self-control, you naturally enter in that place. And this lack of self-control comes from the habit of being controlled by the afflictive emotions. And these are what cause you then to wander in the 6 realms of samsara. So that is a very, very crucial instruction. And so there's a very big difference in terms of what kind of state of mind we are in. And which, wherever you are at, is something that you can only see for yourself. But anyways, that is what is meant with this term here, apply yourself earnestly and make an effort. And making an effort, then you can see for yourself, in this context of the Yidam deity, where you are at in your own practice. Now, whether you are going to recognize the deity in the second bardo or in the third bardo.
대대당 동사고 연구요만 해서 연띠기 정보 연띠기 정보 라만 공부하서 내는 은혜 장례지 길이 양동자 침보트나 요래 나자된 것도 라만 개회신이 담배 축을 라만 개회신이 파르소든 직집에 그게지 있나요 물리적 톱나 들 용지 면에서 들어왔다버리 따뜻한 용지 매봐 당보랑게 내가 와가 시합매봐 기왕하마 장고매봐 들었더니 며칠 들었더니 다 물리적 용지 배추 동마 잡아 종이 매요 쫄람 들어왔다고 차도왔지 용지 매배 시합매봐 종을 배나 대답을 많이 받더니 다단지 감대 나타가 라송왕 고야 제르로나 드린적인데 적진이 맞추겠더니 이게 삼체 체력 라송왕 그랬더니 잡을는데 대답이야 제르로 요래 그랬더니 기기 집안에 개신이지 기기 삼체 록닝은 맞추게 기기 자체 못했다고 했나 들이 답이 출력 기기지 또 무슨 제대로 잡으려는데 되지 용나 양들이 낭성부시 되지 독도 조요래도 치는 조요래 들었더니 낭성부시 돼 내가 돌기 때 와서 타속 사지 공방 토고는 샘만 들었더니 라게 톱토고 요 말에 들었더니 레좀 됐지나 대반이 되는 사와티 낭출로 그랬더니 잡아 되게비시 참지 하장 자체 보여봐 멍미가 맥다와 닝다와 봐 somos 들지 용띠를 때는 대통령 넘어 개신이 용띠를 들지 용띠 좀 뭐 남말을 보고 공부하지 들라 하장들이 책 등사고 발표와 작사 요래 그치고 요래.
So then the next point is the practice of Guru devotion. And also here, actually, Khenpo Sherab again clarified some points. And so we say that, normally we say that the root of blessings is Guru devotion. And so in order to basically receive the blessings, we need devotion. But so when we just hear that, then it seems that it's not so clear actually what that actually means. And so Khenpo Sherab really clarified that, and so he said that to we develop Guru devotion to acquire the qualities of the Guru, and that's really very meaningful. And so now, not even talking about Dharma gurus, Dharma teachers, there's also worldly teachers, and for example, now we have found the precious human body. But in a worldly sense now, if we do not learn anything, if we do not acquire any quality from a teacher, we are much like animals. And it is due to the force of karma from previous lives that one then lacks this level of intelligence or insight in one's mind. And also it is because one has not really practiced or trained or learned anything in previous lives. And then in this life, even though you have found a precious human body, you cannot actually utilize the quality that you could actually have as a precious human being. And then even though you look like a human, your actions are more like that of an animal. And that is because we lack sufficient wisdom or insight. And so nowadays, it is also through our worldly teachers, science teachers, and so on, that this outer world is developing, improving on the external level, on the material level. And that is also already very precious. So the teachers of the worldly tradition are already very precious. But then they can only help us acquire qualities to achieve well-being to a certain extent on the outer level. We might achieve some external material happiness or pleasures, but that usually does not actually create inner peace of mind. And in fact, it even increases our thoughts of hope and fear and so on. So if one wishes to attain true inner peace and freedom temporarily by taking birth in the higher realms and ultimately by attaining enlightenment, it is necessary that one looks inward and tames one's own mind. Otherwise, that cannot be achieved. And that means that we need to understand karma and the twofold truth. And for this reason, the spiritual teacher that teaches us the true Dharma is really extremely precious. That teacher is like the eyes to the blind, or like the heart to the heartless. And it is these qualities of a teacher that we then acquire if we develop devotion to those qualities. So the essence of those qualities, that is, how to get those qualities, is through guru devotion. So these words are also very profound, and of course they could be elaborated upon much more extensively, but that's really the essence, and that's very important.
Denita lama go yi kang le la lama go je de lama de na lama da zu ni man thong de ko zhu ko le zhu ko de na ni gang le pa de zu ni man ga so ji ba le ye na de ko men le ma le chen de sang ge le 아주 chen de ji ba be de ja wa sam ji ji ma na me zu po ji ge kha sa go ji ba ji dang de je ba dan chale sem카카레 톱카카레 데이터한테는 오 미인데 미치바 말이지 되는 오 라마데 송로 그저 거지 거지 송로 거들었더니 로거들었다 다다 사촉 샘기 답지 유메도 사오로데 이 사촉 세던 틀때 아랑게 미용나 들이다 사지 감로 주도 그 생활 놓고다 죽고 유진 삼질라면 송는 주고요. 들이다고 사족 맞게와 제가 탑로도 넘버 이제 들이 재미 이제 들이 정하고 제름 들이 용지라서 사지 송는 주고요. 들이 송는 그저 거지. 송는 그저 거요. 오 신감 장미 발 라마텐도래 그들이 참 보고 그러지요. 아 배자치 보래. 다들 강이 하고 오콩 기자 송을지를 하고도 라면 송거들이 다 사족서고 요시에오나 야 다그 속디 메이나 샘데다 샘요디 칼시에고도 송로고도 다 응내레스 어디로 로고인데 시에바사 많이 봐 소소게 되다 나서는 오 소소메도 사우다 미지요 봐 소소랑 라마 죽고서 라마서 리셈이 찍어야 봐. 내가 소탐들 미디어 봐. 콘투고 해려 많이 봐. 미터 봐. 대사와 되게 소로 그저 거지. 이 로고 되면 톡 죽어야 되나. 이 가래 그 미용을 되나. 무슨 나지 니들이 차다 모성 그 레서가 요래. 무보통 치마를 시네. 라마 톡도 상지 톡 죽어야 되나. 죽어를 샘도 남과다 나지 니를 하고 그랬지. 제 하고는 된 남게 가차고 이용 삼질 차비어래지. 톡 죽어지는. 제 가야가 차오른다. 무슨 니디인지도 가서 니디 요네는 나기니 너도 차도 가서. 오늘 라면 세대 나기 생고는 내려오네 되라. 나기님에 샘 나왔다 버티 밥 사지쳐 보고 때때로 바로 샘님에 오다 적니 적 장매 봐면서 적 가세 망는 거네 감성진도 감성 조기 감 가세만 보시나 생고 제직마다 여발이 대형 동반이래. 대지는 보고 동상고 대바티나 밥에 이래서 톡 죽어들이 죽어들이 롱코군요 인종고요. 맞도 없으면 제탑들 저거 대타를 그리고 소속은 앞서는 소시타다 생군 내력 이 하고서는 생군 내 땅들을 니지 다음에와 하고 소소가 되다 미지고 돼서 들은 거니까서 라말 것은 사고요 꽃거리 송롱거리 톡 죽거리 내 롱거다 죽거지 송제리 제 다고차리 들 죽거들 다 마다니가 냠대요래 가래 이 딸로 막아서 냠대요라 제 냠도 요바selti so 따뜻고 쫄dim들 로알도 오 맞다도 냐와야 다도 로라서 와 하자 동에 카차와탑지가 고소 셈 대신이 뭐데 요래시 내가 누모버라서 justifia 뭐 손나지 좀되게 좀되게라서 그래서 세상에 라서 냐와 셀라서 야다 도목라서 들어 제리면 어떤 차도지 뭐디 쳐야만 내가 차롱라고 차송세 대하고는 들 죽거지 오 니도 로알도 셈지 하자 냥탁만 통내야 응네 말이지 고소 레게지 박차도 소는 차롱라고 되셨으나 오 다 사지마도 없이 대답들이 하고 동동 거야 때렸더니 사지 좀 뒤지게 심지 남는 상계니 오자 로버트 메드랩스 사지가 롱티 심는잖아 오 심지 상계 상계 오자 로버트 마카레리 망쳤지는 나 나오냐만 내리지 오 세배는 차롬을 해서 잠시는 차롬라고 차서 세배 차롬을 해서 나비 나디 내리지 나디들 소화는 뭐들 척척척 담을 또 말을 봐 내가 찍차 대찍 담 능해를 대찍 나 양장 담더니 야 척척척 담네 그 차공도 없네 차도 가지고 했더니 뭐또 무수바 너는 수바미가 야 책도서 고나야 동가면 라삭 코로랑 고도치고랑 배세서 소화돼서 요아 들이 세동에 몰라 뭐마고 봐야 돼. 누구 차오장들이 라고 차다가 똑바로 맞지는 이렇게 이양장양도 차로 차가도 어때는 차로 차송한테 딱 저상 속성을 이피를 넣을 차로 주제요 하고는 들이 뭐 이제 거기서도 또야요甚至 잠시를 대식이 보여와 대상 속성은 제나 들이 사지 터지요 하고는 들이 뭐 이거서
So then for the guru devotion in the root verse it says unless the sun of devotion shines upon the snow mountain of the guru's four kayas, the current of blessings will not emerge. Now the guru that appears to us, the Nirmanakaya form, appears as a human being, and so he appears in the same way as we appear. But he is not a real human actually, because his mind is the Buddha. For example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama appears as a human being. For example, he eats food like we do, but then he's still not the same, because his activities and the power of his mind are very different. So that his form that appears to us is the Nirmanakaya. And then his speech, the Guru's speech, is said to be the Sambhogakaya. The speech is the Sambhogakaya because we are introduced to the qualities of bodhicitta through the Guru's instructions. And we learn that if sentient beings' mind, which is like a seed, develops bodhicitta, then their mind can ripen like a flower, ripen into the pure lands of the Sambhogakayas and achieve all the qualities of a Dharmakaya. So all of that we learn from the instructions that we receive from the Guru. And that is how the Guru's speech is the Sambhogakaya. The Guru, for example, tells us that the method to give rise to bodhicitta, where it has not yet arisen, is the reflection on the four thoughts that turn the mind. And then he stresses the importance of the four immeasurables, and he teaches us how to practice the deity yoga of the secret mantra and so on. So all of these qualities, all of these teachings come from the Guru's speech. So, for example, like the qualities of the deity. And that is why his speech is Sambhogakaya. And then we say that the Guru, his mind, where those qualities are fully matured, has then control over over limitless pure lands of various deities. So when that comes up in your mind, there is this sensation of just vastness. It's just incredible. And all of this we understand only because the Guru has told us about it. So the Guru appears as a human being, but then what he explains to us are the qualities of the mind. So when you really think about it, the Guru's speech really is the Sambhogakaya. And then once you know that, you also know that if I practice according to the instructions, I can actually ripen. And ultimately, my body and my mind is the same as the Guru's body and mind. We can all ripen. And we ripen if we practice the instructions. Then the Guru's mind is the Dharmakaya. And so then what happens when the mind has ripened? So now we have a perception of, a dualistic perception of self and other. And due to that, we accumulate much karma driven by the afflictive emotions of attachment, aversion, and ignorance. And we have a very solid belief in substantial reality, the way things appear to us, and in an inherent existence. And so the Guru's mind is the Buddha, the Dharmakaya, which is like space. And within space, there is no duality of self and other. This space-like nature pervades everything, the entire animate, sentient beings and inanimate universe. Everything is pervaded by the Dharmakaya mind. And we do not experience that because we perceive a dualistic existence. And this perception of self and other is what makes the mind become very solidified, like a block of ice, like a solid, small entity, an individual. And the Guru's mind, the Guru has realized how things really are, that there is no division between self and other, that the mind is like space, and that there is only a diversity, a duality, seemingly so in terms of bodies. But no matter how many there are, they all come from a single basis. For example, we speak about the 3 planes of samsaric existence, the 3 realms, the desire realm, form realm, formless realm, and it just seems infinite. And all of it arises from this single ground that is the mind itself, and that itself is also empty of self-nature. So the Guru had realized the truth of things. His mind is the Dharmakaya. And from this Dharmakaya quality arise the qualities of the Sambhogakaya and also the Nirmanakaya for the benefit of sentient beings. And so then when you practice that, then when you practice the instructions of the Guru and the nature of the mind and that there is no duality, then you realize that all of these qualities of the Guru's mind are actually present within your own mind. So you realize that self and other are not separate, and you understand that you can fully ripen into the nature of the Guru's mind. So basically, when you realize that all of these qualities of the 3 kayas are complete within your own mind, that is when you have actualized the 4th kaya, which is the Svabhavika kaya, or the essence kaya. So the Guru's body is the Nirmanakaya, the speech the Sambhogakaya, and the mind is the Nirmanakaya. The Dharmakaya and Sambhogakaya are a union, and they are the pure aspect. And the Nirmanakaya appears in both pure and impure forms. For example, in a pure form, he appears as someone like His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And this term, Nirmana, actually, it means emanation, and emanation is something that appears in a certain way, but that's not what it really is. So, for example, there is the emanation, the appearance of the 6 realms of samsara. especially in the 3 lower realms, in the hells, hungry spirits, and animal realms, the suffering is very intense. But still, the beings living there all possess Buddha nature. And only temporarily, those kinds of existences, they manifest to them as the natural manifestation of their own afflictive emotions. As Thigten Somgön had said, it is all the manifestation of one's own karma. So, for example, hell is the manifestation of hatred, and the hungry spirit realm, the manifestation of stinginess, and the animal realm, the manifestation of ignorance. The essence from which it all arises from, that is Buddha nature, is like pure water, and only temporarily beings have become like ice blocks. So this is how we also understand the nature of the Nirmanakaya. And so then, now even though sentient beings do experience a lot of suffering in the 6 realms of samsara, that is not what they really are. So there are no real inherently existing sentient beings. And it is only a temporary appearance that arises due to the karmic imprints in their minds. And when that comes to an end, when the ice block melts, then all there is their own mind, which is the Buddha and nothing else. So the Buddha himself had said, all sentient beings are actually Buddhas. They are only obscured by adventitious stains. So that's a quote by the Buddha, and that is good to memorize actually. So what are those adventitious stains? You can see them when you look at your own mind. It is that concept of an I, a self that exists. And an outer example of that is an ice block floating in water. So when you look at the essence of it, the nature of this I, when it arises, then the feeling of it is of one of a contraction. You're bound up, tied up into this bundle, solidified entity. And we can see how that really happens, that whenever something undesirable comes your way, you feel solidified, really tight. And then you are tied up again and again and again, and you become increasingly contracted. You turn into this bound up bundle, which is this entity of I. And so that is then this ice-like nature. You really become like an ice block. And being like an ice block, any kind of problem is experienced as intolerable. It is unbearable suffering. For example, if someone insults you, even if it's completely baseless actually and meaningless, still immediately you get very angry at that person. And there's no need to mention that we suffer greatly from real outer difficulties, like outer circumstances. But even the slightest problem that doesn't actually really exist, we bring it into existence with our fixations, and then develop very coarse emotions of attachment and hatred. And over again, the mind is bound up further, so it becomes solidified like this ice block. But it can be melted. It can be melted if you develop the heat of altruism. And so if you know that, then you recognize that all beings, they really have that potential. Because sentient beings possess Buddha nature, if they develop bodhicitta, they can attain enlightenment, because all of these enlightened qualities of the 3 kayas are in their seeds already present within their minds. And so one who realizes that then accomplishes the 4th kaya, the Svabhavika kaya. So that is what is meant here with the 4 kayas of the Guru.
소소도 빼는 메도데 메도 첨보데 기 the 메도디 사지 것을 사지가 용띠래 다 그것이 성도 소소로 요래데 메도 제가 성 잡타만 보요래 뒤고하잖아 소소로 소소 가리래 샘 가리래 되나 통야요 말이야 나오냐 말들이지 나오냐 뭐 하고도 그래요 하고야 뭐 나오냐 뭐 통야요 말이야 대근에지 나오냐 뭐 마시나 제일 제일 뉴모방 것이 있고요 말이야 대외 드니다 책도 맞춰도 요리 습지답지 내와서 대인도 가그라 봤다 마도 대 무슨 말은 뭐질 라마치게 대체 못해 말이야 드니 메치게 라마나 나 세군대로 하고고요 라마치기 지난 나오냐 봤다다 거소지 나오냐 봐 하고도 돼 나오냐 봐 토야면도 다창 두고 남만한 거는 나오냐 봐도 술이 쭉 나오냐 봐도 거소지 나오냐 봐도 막 톱을 샘피시야 요 말이지 그 남고 삼로 땅 나오 짠 토야요 말이야 남라디 약자용 나 톱성은 톱 마서 오늘 키랑 내가 가르치 나 주요 어디리 다 하고 그래 사주를 뛰다 내고 그래 끼들을 쳐내는 거 아니야 우리 저도 나한테 요 말이 딱 나오냐 봐 뒤진치에 몇 봤더니 뒤진들 내고 그래 야 이도 뭐 예를 나도 나한테 좀 보도 이도 뭐 나한테 보면 독서를 또 나를 받은 것이나 되니 제일 뛰니 딱히 장이 와대 하고 나이도 받을 제요래 대 하고 그래서 나이도 받참에 하고 또에 되는 뭐니 것이 받은 나래 소소 나오냐 받지 자디요래 나오냐 받지 자디요래 나오냐 받지 나가지 제일 이지고 오 습지 상제 파트 나지 일파 나지 저거 요래
So the three kayas are a quality of the Buddha, and the fourth kaya is that when you recognize that all of these qualities are actually complete within you, that's the fourth kaya. So it is like the the flower is the quality of the three kayas, and the fourth kaya is like that seed that you already have. And so it is like one flower actually produces hundreds of different seeds. And so where can we find it? It is the mind. And so then what is the mind actually? When you look at the mind, you cannot see it. It is this notion of I, this sense of an I, an existing I. It's something that you can't really know because you cannot see it. But you have to recognize it, because if you do not recognize this I, then you will also not be able to recognize all the afflictive emotions that come from that I. And then all your compassionate words are really empty words. For example, we say, may all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness, but these are then just become like empty words. There is this one story of a student who asked his guru to give him instructions on the nature of mind. And then that guru said that those instructions, you have to give me your I. And then he said, he sent him home and he said that, go look for this I the whole night. And if it takes you until the morning, then it takes you until the morning. But don't come back without that I. Because without that I, if you don't bring me that I can't give you those instructions. So then the disciple was thinking about that all night long, and he just couldn't find that I. So anyways, he returned in the morning, and the teacher asked him, so where is the I? And the disciple said, I really couldn't find it. There, it is not there. And then the teacher said, so then what are you doing here? And the disciple said, well, I'm still here to receive Dharma teachings. And then the teacher said, that's it. you are here to receive Dharma teachings. I am here to receive Dharma teachings. Now you see the I. So it's that I that engages in all these activities. It always comes up, no matter what we do. When we run into different kind of situations, the I is always right there. It's always there continuously, actually. For example, when you encounter a very attractive object, then that I thinks that I need that, I want that. And then if the object is unpleasant, then you think, I don't want that. So it is that grasping, this thought of I, that you have to first recognize. And then you recognize it due to various conditions that you encounter and that the I then labels as good or bad. So due to these conditions trigger this concept of an I want this, I don't want that, for example. So first, that is what we need to understand. So now we have to recognize this thought of I. And now, currently, that is the Svabhavika Kaya. The essence Kaya now is in disguise of the I. This concept of I is actually the essence Kaya, but we don't recognize it. And so that is why we have to clearly have a clear look at it. And if we don't look clearly, then constantly we're thinking I, or me all the time. So a skillful means to look away from it in a way to not fixate on this idea that there is an I, is to think about others.
Yang jala hajang zachibozi, rang dengchibo jala zachibozi na, tere zini tangang jala zachibozi ya, jala zachibozi na, de zhiga longzhu kunzhu sang, teni jala zandari yang na, de tingiri lamungo yore, nga le song, tere zini zi nga wan chamba ziki, 서로 여고 참아 다전 강바디 뇨차나 능 강바리시 라운자 대티니 들려요 말아 들 강바들이 지금 누바다 딱 컨트롤한 거 강바를 도시송 베오 제라지니 땅아지 소리 나라지니 시장인 거도 나라지니 도 차인 거 다시 뉴모가 깨고 그래서 나시발래 그도 대하고 대 나오냐 바들이 오 다시 나오냐 바들이 Jina compule. The lama trees, the lama giving the Terekuba, Gawa, the lama giving you think. The Rinkova, the lama could choose some good the lama. Touch about it. Lama the Saji county, but that was Saji, you think. Lama the Saji, Sasachi about it. this Haji Tachiboris. All Haji go Chibo wrapped on the yo. Haji is so put the Japama for you now. Chica Hakotomari. Haji going things on Hakotomari. Lama gave she is a Haji song the door. This Haji Yon Din Shakol. This Haji got water. Ha! Some 12 left together. Oh. 다 사제도 못 찍발 사제를 남아서 버리지 교신이 kon 초성근의 개든 자치 버리지 개든과 참았더니 교신이래 되나 잠불는 것들이 교신이 개긴 삼지 자치 버리 삼sem나 라메요나 다 무바지 다 무바지요 든 서마세문데 와차가 교신이 잡지라 대 니만하지 들라고 교신이 가래나 기긴 탐시 자체 보이요 하고는 들라고 교신이 있는데 들락발 저성 제말지 어디게 자세 니트바 차용거래더니 뭐지 그지는 다시 가르치실 때 랑그 덥토그 로로리 내가 랑그 피바 하고는 랑나 피바도 얘를 대화자들이 뭐바지나 소소 동네를 탈고나 따뜻한 고초선을 뛴 거래지 그때는 까나지 사 교신이 까나지 덥도 뭐 그때 됐다고 이제 교신이 송투제도 돌아 말로와 들라마가 송탑제다 보자 덕고요 도마르 레전드다 보자 신구요래 오 레전드라더니 내가 동네 라도 쳤다봐. 다tuk devi jotta pate muneti gevshini kadri something gevshini samanatini ning tapanatini sem toda wale tikan di muche ore del mute tekene tat tal gevshini yonti karena chu lento yore karese lento gevshini de sem gun tango tini chupare juni bade chang ngayers ba yore Tiri ngāi zi bāti yung tiri gō jab nāng yore, tā chū gīgīn tiri kūpāyo te tā mūgī gō chīgā nāng jī tiri, gīgīn zi sem nā rāng, gīgīn zi sem chādi yore. Tiri tiri tā rāng dō tiri wāchīn tiri na, tiri sōn tiri dō tiri yāng tiri wāchī gō chīgā yore, pē tiri nā jī, dō tā dō nā jī tā ngā dzab jī chīmbō yung gō yore, tiri tiri mūgī lā gō yore, tiri nima nā jī re.
And for example, another way to recognize, to identify this I is, for example, if you have some kind of object that you love very much, that you think is very precious, then based on that you can clearly identify that I, because then you're worried that it might fall down and break, or that someone will take it away from you. Or if I put it there and someone could take it, then immediately you feel that's mine. So the I has already arisen. So you can recognize this concept of the I in those moments when it is related to an object that we consider very precious. For example, you buy a house, then the moment you bought it and it's yours, you think it's my house. So you think that momentarily it's my house. And then the next moment, you think about something else, that thought is gone. But then, when someone, for example, throws a rock, like a stone at your house, like damages your house, immediately the I comes back and you get angry. And so this is how you can recognize this I, this feeling that arises then, when the I is triggered. And then based on this I, because of this concept of me, you develop those thoughts of hatred, of anger, of desire. So all of these afflictions arise out of this concept of I. So that I diminishes when we turn away from it and we look at others. And here we remember the qualities of the Guru. We develop respect to the Guru when we remember his qualities. So now, when we think about the qualities of the Guru and the qualities of the three jewels, which are very precious, but then now what's actually to us personally, what is more precious? Is it the quality? Is it the Guru, or is it the Buddha himself? Actually, it is the Guru, because if we see a Buddha image that we think might be very precious, it might be as large as a mountain. You might have a very large statue, or maybe you are buying hundreds of scriptures of the Buddha's words. It is good because you know it's precious, but still you don't really know any of its meaning at all. You don't really understand the qualities of that Buddha or of those scriptures. The only way for you to know about these qualities is through the instructions that you receive from the Guru. And that is why the Guru is really most precious. And then once you have understood the qualities of the Buddhas based on the Guru's instructions, then when you see an image or a statue of a Buddha, then immediately a very strong feeling can arise. Therefore, for this reason, the Guru is said to be even more precious than the Buddha himself. And that is also why we say that among the three jewels, the Sangha is really most precious. And the Sangha really refers to any spiritual teacher of any spiritual tradition around the world. They are all very precious. So when you understand their preciousness, because you know about their qualities, then an aspiration arises in your mind. And so now this term devotion in Tibetan, it consists of two syllables, mögu, And me means this aspiration. So this aspiration arises. And with this aspiration, you are able to connect your mind to the mind of the Guru, which is like the sun. So you connect to the mind of the Guru because you understand how precious the Guru is. And because you understand how precious the Guru is, you will consider whatever the Guru tells you as true and authentic, and you will follow the Guru's instructions. And that is the second syllable, gu, mugu. Gu means to respect. So first you aspire, and then you respect, which means you heed the instructions of the Guru. You respect the Guru's words. So with me, with aspiration, you want to accomplish those qualities. You understand those qualities. And you know that if you practice accordingly, it is actually to your own greatest benefit. And also it brings about the happiness of others. So if you want to become free from suffering, you must rely on the 3 jewels. And to do that, you must follow the instructions that you receive from the Guru. And that is called respect. And you must not allow these instructions to become wasted or spoiled, but you must practice them. You must hold on to these instructions that you have received from the Guru. And that begins with adhering to the instructions that you have received on karma, cause and effect, and that you practice accordingly. And if you practice accordingly, if you really understand karma, then you will be able to practice with the suffering that you experience now in this life. You will take it as the path, and ultimately you will be able to create your own happiness. So really from the bottom of your heart, remember the kindness of all the spiritual teachers. And when this sincere feeling arises, of gratitude arises, that feeling is like the heat, the warmth that melts the ice block. And that is what we call then devotion, or mugu in Tibetan. And then it is important that this arises for all of the spiritual teachers. And when such devotion arises, this feeling, that when this feeling of devotion arises, this warmth, then you will be able to acquire, absorb all of the qualities that that Guru possesses. Because actually, to begin with, the mental continuum of the Guru and your own are the same. But then there is this second continuum that has started, and that is that for now you are believing in a self. And for as long as you perceive a self, it is like the doors of your mind are shut, they're closed. And when you give rise to devotion to the Guru, it is like you're opening up those doors of your mind. And then the qualities of the Guru can also arise within your own mind. And it's very similar to a relationship that you have with a companion that you love very much. Because you love that companion very much, that love naturally opens you up, opens your mind up to that companion, opens your heart up to that companion. And that's very similar to devotion. So devotion is, it is that for this reason, it is like the sun.
Lama Kangrestang, Roma Muinimani Devas, Kangre Roma Muinimati, Yichit, Ranka Lamatera, Gawata Siwaka Yichiona, the Lamate, the Lomatera, and Kiki Unguyore, Niki, Hanitli, let them be a target, Namza, the Lantoga ne Captain Tato with me, Devaka Jo, the Mega Jong, let them do of Puchiona. This is Chata or it, this is Henley only, this is the Chata Tona. The Rango set up your it, relatively later than so your it, so have the tradition what the technique to go your it. Something a technique. Then you want to let the daily chichina, the long job to your relatively chichina, the couple of them tiny chetaba, Tatu David Jobdaba, this our child with a theatre 로마게 라마들이 이치에 매 라마게 누게요나 배도요 말이 로마게 이치면은 같이 길이 인거 말이 이치면은 그때 녀 마좀들이 다다리 봐 치고요 말이 라마게 위신이 다리 자치고 옛날이야 된 참중 가려요이더라 문제 뜻을 로미 라마다 로미 라마다 라미 로마다 고 뜻을 송요래 가와사부가로 됐다고 고가야 요래 옛날 등창 라미 로마다고나 잡으리를 로마야 고 찍다 타고 말이 로미 라마다고나 라마를 찍다 타고 말이 자탐 제쳐가 공무서 사지인장 다다 가도니 요래 됐다 그러더니 되니 니가 제 발라 마타를 못 차와래 로마 지금 토마니 라마 중에 딱 그래 찍찍으면 저 가리 로마랑 동이 쪼고 로마랑 그 팔라마를 파 쪼고 하는지 쪼르다 그래. 들이 니모 보면 그 중마도 요딘 통통고 말이 예를 들들이 다다다 등산강에 70대 톡대요래. 옛날 라마 들으니 이제 몇주 많이 왔다 봐 추게 레좀데 남자 라마 성대 양다와 얘기잖아. 뭐 그런 갈지 소소 좋은 거 좋으라고 말이. 매일 라마 교실이 파 쪼다나 도저히 랑람록과를 쇼네 랑이 좀데랑들 랑 종라고 말이야 라마 코너 종라야 강이 요 말이지 코랑 삼니기면 코랑 종라고 말도 저게 로미 그다음에 시를 타고 종라야 요 말이 대직진 가는 때도 좀 망고 요래 대중 체시들이 대리 문이지라 로마는 게 주다고 그래 등상 로마를 용띠 가리고 하도 로마를 용띠 말라리 받아주고 하도 라마를 용띠 가리고 라마를 안 하는 거다 축도 내 추추시하고 축 가리고 용띠고 라마 용띠 차상면은 많다들 로마들 경탁으로 삽지 싸움하세 모장이 매봐 대우너들이 대 수송들 말라리 배송 말이 롱륵 빙하 디발라 지진질 라마 메세랑 토끼도 들어가도 지지지 라마 제사 용띠면은 삼지 고거로 했어 소시 때도 삼미들 용띠 가면 다 삼지 상마지 로마들 좀 틀어서 뒤집어서 오면 용띠 가요 말이지 소소소소 다 그요 진짜 로마랑 로마 용띠 가고 따나 때때 종라야 요 말이지 로마 라마다나 자자자 종라 그래서
So the guru's four kayas is like a snow mountain, and then the disciples' devotion is like the sun. And so now that devotion is basically it is a trust in the guru, and now it is that you love the guru, and you fully trust that guru, and the quality of the guru is that the guru must have compassion for the disciple. And then with compassion, then the guru teaches the disciple with his speech. He teaches the teachings on karma, cause and effect, all the levels of karma, cause and effect, the teachings on what one should do and what one shouldn't do, and the teachings on how to create the causes of happiness and avoid the causes of suffering temporarily and ultimately. And so these instructions are like water. And if you trust them and practice them, it is like you're drinking the water. So when you drink the water, your thirst will be quenched. And then you will survive. Your life force will be sustained if you drink water. So it is important that when we trust the guru, that we are also able to listen to the instructions that we receive from the guru, that we are able to heed the guru's words. And if you heed the guru's words and you practice accordingly, then you are really able to protect yourself. That is, if you trust in karma really. And if you trust in karma, then you will be able to accept whatever suffering you encounter now. and you will be able to create the causes for happiness for the future. So if a disciple doesn't fully trust the guru, even though the guru might have great compassion, the guru will not really be able to benefit that disciple because the disciple doesn't trust. And if the disciple doesn't trust, then he just won't listen what the guru has to say. So if those two qualities of guru and disciple do not come together, then not much will be accomplished actually. In the old days, it is said that when we look for a teacher or a disciple, then there are certain things that we need to look at. So there's teachings on how guru has to evaluate the disciple and vice versa. And in the fortunate aeon, there was a time where this was actually possible. But these times have passed. So nowadays, if a guru really would try to evaluate the disciple and try to find the disciple that meets all the criteria as they are mentioned in the scriptures, he could travel around the whole world and wouldn't find a single suitable disciple nowadays. For example, and then vice versa, it's the same. For example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is actually a real Buddha emanation. And still there is people who criticize him. So these times for mutual evaluation really have passed. What happens nowadays is actually we are not looking for the qualities of anyone, we are looking for their faults. So nowadays what people do is that the first thing they do is when they meet a guru is to try to evaluate their faults, try to find their faults. So actually the reason why a disciple wants to practice is because they want to become free from suffering. And the way they do that when they evaluate and criticize a guru is actually almost like a pretense of trying to safeguard them from suffering by criticizing their faults, when actually they are here to liberate themselves first. So nowadays, anyways, all we can really see is the faults in others, and we can hardly see their good qualities. And in fact, that's the biggest problem that we have in the present day. And now, clearly, we have that problem in the mundane sense, but even in the Dharma. So actually, even if you find a certain fault in a teacher, then basically, all that you need to do is listen to the instructions and practice them. But instead, if you go around and tell people about the faults of that teacher, then you still cannot actually affect the teacher in any way. You will not, for example, if you wanted to bring a teacher down, you couldn't do that because he can only bring himself down, really. And you can bring yourself down. And so the point is that you have to practice yourself. And if you are blind to the workings of karma and what to do and what not to do, if you go astray, then you yourself will actually bring yourself down. But you're not bringing anyone down by speaking ill of them. If that teacher really lacks love and compassion, then he will bring himself down anyways. But he will not be brought down by anyone's talk at all. So everyone can only bring themselves down. And so nowadays, this is really the biggest problem that we face in the Dharma in the world nowadays. So what we actually should do instead of evaluating each other is evaluate ourselves. And so a disciple should look at themselves and see what are the qualities that I, as a disciple, should possess. So the perfect qualities, a perfect example of a perfect disciple is someone like Milarepa, for example. And then likewise, a guru, a teacher who is teaching the Dharma, should evaluate themselves. What qualities should I possess in order to teach the Dharma? And of course, again, in the scriptures, there are many qualities that are mentioned. But even if you don't have all of those qualities, the most important quality to have as a teacher is completely pure love and compassion for others. without any bias at all, without any preference of one person is better than the other person. Everyone is completely loved equally. And so Milarepa had said, for example, for the qualities of a teacher, he said that now it is good for a teacher to have the knowledge of the scriptures and instructions and the lineage and all of that. But the most important, first and foremost quality a guru must have is compassion for the disciple. And if one has that, then even if not all of the other qualities are perfectly complete, then still one can protect, one can benefit those disciples. And so whether or not you have those qualities is something that you can only see for yourself. So you should take an honest look at yourself and see whether or not you actually have those qualities. Now really is the time where the disciples really have to look at themselves and the gurus have to look at themselves. And if you really take an honest look at yourself, then certainly you will not go astray.
네, 등상 라마를 종교 거도와세 라메 용진, 라메 투규의 용진, 송의 용진, 강양 마실래, 라메 속대 메르종을 대치보러 돌려들이 들이 제일 딱 깨다나 용진이 주는 용진 짜장 동초거리, 종 짜장 보고 동거리, 종대 용진 제일 지 잡고 지선장나 사자비르다가 손발이 룸보 잡고 지선장시. 개배랑 그 제시죠. 개박이랑 제주노 라마지 송그 용진 된바이가 동 대략적으로 답이 추 송사보로 되네. 들이랑 그 제시바요. 사바대 행제다 보자서나 너가 가는 요 말이 개배랑 그 제시 라마 용진 송그 용진 토기 용진 답이 정식 요래지. 라마 저거도 짱짱소나 대라 가라야 사고래. 똑바용 딴 거래 딱 중마도 통투고 말이 진짜 고고쪽에 송발이 라마 잡고는 송거래 사지 문은 라마 머르종스 담잡 동버 가든 망기지 라도 마종스나 이체 곰스 제도 남라 태통 록대제 대다를 라랑 털라랑 종라야만 라마를 종라로 약간야 열면 다톡이 지와니 지와 체람을 따라가 종라 요리 민기와레스 대다를 상어도는 돈나 세 라마 베 라마 족 드냐 요말 좀 송도 체마를 정거레스 송도 체마는 라마 센드 정거레스 세 베들 송디 베 라마 나는 좀다 동절 라마 초다 동절 라마 까리 기암비 도마 쇼감이 다봉이 도마 쇼고 삼로 바르도 톱송 삼로 종타를 송고 삼로티 라린 소리면은 섭저 소독봐. 대 나그 진실라 말. 대리. 나글라마 대리. 사지형 대리. 라마다랑시 사지에서 찍는 된 거고. 대 가령 거는 진실 봐요가 대 라마는 된 거고 그랬지. 랑시 사지에 시바데. 진실 되게들이 달랑들 만날 봐요 거요래. 대 따문데 라마 톡 돈이 hingi 속도 대 진tab나 들이 라마테레 동탈 라마다랑시 사지에서 쩍 도고래 성지에서 온 들이 뭐가 타르톡 봐요 들이 징이 빠치까지 채나 랍상되니까 들이 제시 봐요 들이 사마다 hingi 들어봐 라소바 트이톡고 요래 대게들이 내가 성성되던 거래 대디 좁고 요래 제시 봐요 봐서 저기 돌이 좁으라고 요래 제 돌 접을 때는 뭐야 요 말이 저거 설마 맞접니 유모 보마도 쇼스들이 데비들 쪼나 요 말이들이 사지 좀 되게 랑랑 좁고래지 좁아 탑도 공부도 많이 했지 때 강철이 시합도 좁고 인기도 좁고 그래 때에다는 냠이 있었더니 라마라시 예미들이 라그 진실은 거들 라마는 지나 들이 종가야라야 요 말이지 들께지야 요 말이 보절로 요 말이 듣기 기보래 뭐가 타토 봐들이 다다 대 적지에 대해서 거요래 라마들 진바냐도 진시나 다음에 되겠다 먹을 라마들 홍지 당연히 먹을 때 하고 요래 라마 세고 싫었다 라그 세고 진시요 제발 벗삼 요 말이 대 사제가 세고 싫었다 shirapsa mo jun shirapu jun te chukwayi ba hakora tiri lama tarang si saji so chikda topa namchal la tincha ti sungu sunga le koto tama teta wa hakora tamna tiri lama chungkang yo ma res te ki chenpo yo re.
And so nowadays what happens a lot is that people are talking about the faults of various teachers, various gurus. And so that shows that they do not really understand the qualities of a guru's mind and speech. And they just see that guru as a human being. They just see the outer form. They just evaluate the outer form of the guru, and then they analyze only that. And then when they analyze the outer form, then all they can see is just a pile of faults and no qualities. And then they express those faults, they proclaim those faults, and then other people follow these words. Sakya Pandita had said that like foolish people follow like mere expressions or words of others, whatever they hear basically. And a wise person, a sensible person, who understands the qualities of the actual qualities of the guru, will understand that the qualities of the guru are within their speech and within their mind. So a wise, a sensible person will be able to regard the guru's instructions rather than the outer appearance. So they will follow the teachings on the twofold truth and on sustaining mindfulness and awareness and sustaining love and compassion. And then if we follow that, then clearly we will not go astray. And if we only look at the body, then obviously we will only see faults. The guru is also just a human being. The guru needs to eat food like us, needs to poop like us, just like us, the same. Actually, there's one other instruction given by Chamgyung Kongtrul Rinpoche. So basically, he said that the guru, the guru is the Buddha appearing in human form, and we need to heed the guru's profound instructions and trust in them. And those who cannot do that and criticize the guru's activities will develop wrong views. So, and that is their own loss in all future lifetimes. So he says compassion for all those beings who do that. Because in the end, you will only lose out yourself and actually not that teacher. But in all future lifetimes, this negativity that you have generated in your mind will follow you. So we should not regard the guru, the teacher, we should not analyze his outer form at all. And we should not even identify his outer form with the guru. But what we should really hold as the actual guru is the guru's instructions and the guru's mind. The outer form of the guru is just an illustration of a guru. But really what's important is what is within. The actual guru actually is your ultimately is your own mind. For example, when you're taking the refuge vow, there is this mind in you that thinks, I want to take refuge. And then you think, now I have received refuge. And then you think, now I have to observe the refuge precepts. And so that mind, that is your own mindfulness. In the 37 practices in verse number 36, it talks about this mindfulness. And this mindfulness, that is your actual guru, your inner Buddha. So this is how you need to recognize that the guru's mind, the Buddha's mind, and your own mind are actually one. They are one within mindfulness and within clear mindfulness. And this mindfulness should be recognized as the actual guru. And that is what is meant with saying my own mind is the Buddha. It is with mindfulness that you know. If you're mindful, you know clearly what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And so the actual mind of the Guru is on the ultimate level, this union of emptiness and compassion. And if you always uphold that, then you really have the Guru within you at all times. And in the end, you realize, as Jigten Sumgön had said, you realize that your own mind, the Guru's mind, and the Buddha's mind are all one. And that's the ultimate devotion, actually. And so, especially when in the face of difficult circumstances and obstacles, in those moments, you have to be able to sustain mindfulness. And with mindfulness, you are sustaining love, compassion, and patience. And if you're able to do that, then temporarily you will protect yourself from the suffering of the 3 lower realms. It is because of mindfulness. Because of mindfulness, you are protecting yourself in terms of the causes. And if you protect yourself from the wrong causes, when those causes are not created, then the corresponding results can also not ripen. And so, in other words, or conversely, if on the other hand you do not protect yourself from those causes, that is, if you become controlled by the afflictive emotions, then no one can protect you from the ripening of results. Even the Buddha himself. The Buddha himself had said, I can show you the methods that lead to liberation, but liberation itself depends on yourself. You have to protect yourself. And you protect yourself if you develop mindfulness and compassion. And this is how your mind ultimately then merges indivisibly with the Guru's mind. So the Guru's mind should be recognized in essence to be your own mindfulness and nothing else. And that mindfulness is always there. It is your own mind. It is unchanging. So that's the ultimate devotion. Or in the Dzogchen teachings, for example, it says that if at all times the Guru and mental and mindful presence are sustained, so when the Guru's presence in your mind and awareness are sustained, that is the ultimate devotion, the ultimate Guru devotion. And you have to recognize then that the Guru's wisdom mind and your own mindfulness are not different at all. They are one single mental continuum. And when you finally realize that, then it is, as Jigten Sumgön had said, I'm a yogin who has realized my own mind, the Guru's mind, and the Buddha's mind to be one. So if you can understand that, then you will simply be unable to see any faults in any Guru. So that's a really very important point.
Then lali sodimana somebody ta ngage ke changi chudo tamchi ke karchiwa kangri chuta kada chulok kare yamba mare kare yamba donna diri solang diri kubandemi war chuda kada la di kubandemi ngamaret kangi na de lali sodimana somebody Mimowa ke jase jida ke nipa nung dani nyam jepeso te kwa chele chopa kanza ke nipa memna jase lani yeso bade dani karisile nyam jore kanza chele kopata we sano tangna ya kanza teke chushi chungre yore tamji me kache teba dona tiri ti nipa te tata yin chun kopata me ti ngoro yungo yore Be yana mesi yana rogo na lo mabola kopa jakim dan rogo ya lang sok be kapores pende ta makom je pangnes te meti makom je sem ni chat abi makom ba ni chat abi pangne ta tapelam na kopa ja yana rogo res ma yokor kik tal ma yok me le la wo mi to kores te ta tapelam do ne 타벨랑 도자리들이 아 로카체 강에 잡냐니 냐니 제요나 저 돌아다는 요리 대회도 같이 요리지 대회에 참석했더니 뜻밭에 소시다리 그바데 미팅으로 요구요 대회를 고소 가래 연하테 살서받고 봤다야지 다음 잠이 되면은 소바에 감성생기 세자리 감성생기 뒤쪽으로 세나 산속 선발을 거 봤다 보니 서득 받쳐야 산속 선발을 거 받도록 받쳐 그래야지 뒤 산속 선발 되는 노로살라고 요말 뒤 니바데 먹고 제래 산속 선발을 콜 거봤다나 저 코스 바공을 오 말 거봤다면은 가니를 참아 피호도 못한데 그 산속 선발 말 거봤더니 때 샤로코 지로라고 요말에 산속 선발을 피다는 거 봤죠 찍다 뭐는 잡고 그빠데 니 코랑을 내가 데려들이 심지 탈랑을 놓고리 하여튼 잡고서 내 죽고 때려야지 하자같이 보여야지 될 때는 나 참조해야지
So there's one really important thing that I want to share with you, my Dharma friends, and especially now that's in the context of the 37 practices also, and that is now it is now it refers to verse number 32, and it says, "Don't mention the faults of those who have entered the great vehicle." So we should not mention the faults of anyone. We should not denigrate anyone, no matter what religion they belong to or what nationality or race they belong to, whoever they are. We should not criticize any of them. So that is whether in a Dharma or in a worldly sense now. We should not criticize people or religions and so forth. And so anyways, in the 37 practices, in verse number 32, it says, "If you are driven by disturbing emotions and talk about another bodhisattva's faults, it is actually to your own detriment. So don't mention the faults of those who have entered the great vehicle. This is the way of a bodhisattva." So it says, it is actually your own detriment. So you're actually bringing yourself down. And how do you do that? It is because, for example, there is a teacher who has some disciples and he teaches them the Dharma and they all get along and are harmonious. And then if you criticize that teacher, for example, then many people might turn away from that teacher. They might lose their faith altogether. And why? Because you criticize that teacher. And so, for example, it is just like imagine you're walking up a staircase for many years. So you're very tired and it's very exhausting. It's a very hard, like a hard like way to go because you have to go uphill. And so that is just like now. We have been born as a precious human body, in a precious human life. So we are free of the 8 unfree states, and then there's actually more of these factors explained. There's basically 24 of different states that we are free from. So we have all of these freedoms now, all of these qualities to achieve liberation. So we are walking on that path uphill towards liberation, and it is a very difficult path. And going up is very difficult, but falling down happens in one moment very easily. So if we cause someone to fall down, they fall down in an instant. And all these, each and every step that they have taken on that path to liberation becomes spoiled, and they all fall down again. So no matter how many years they have practiced, it's all spoiled. And that is the reason why it is said there is nothing worse than criticizing or speaking of the faults of such a teacher or of anyone really. It is because the way we are bringing ourselves down is that there is a negativity of bringing others down. So however many steps they have taken and however many people they all collapse. And that is really due to what you have said. Also in the prayer of Sukhavati, Changme Raga says that it is a greater evil to humiliate or criticize a bodhisattva than to kill all sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara in one instant. And now the reason is that because the bodhisattvas are actually, or those who have entered the great vehicle, those teachers, are guiding people on the path to liberation. And so we turn it all around for them if we criticize them. And so we are not actually, by doing that, we are not actually harming that bodhisattva, because to the bodhisattva, him or herself, it makes really no difference. Actually, the bodhisattva's aspiration is that may all beings be well and happy. Those who like me and those who do not like me, those who harm me or criticize me, may they all be well and happy. So to them personally, it really doesn't make a difference at all. But then there is all of those who hear that, and they are all brought down from their path of liberation. So we are causing many sentient beings to turn away from the path of liberation, and there's really nothing worse than that, nothing more harmful than that. So because that is really very serious, it is extremely important to be very, very careful when it comes to that in these kind of circumstances. So this is the point where I'd like to stop the teachings today.
내가 소리를 다낭도 못 쫓아버렸지. 나랑 가르쳐 그 조절하고 잠불링나 추록돼요 제제라. 삼모당나 중단이 네가 요래지. 중단이 네가 요래. 용띠 그 찬이잖아. 용띠 내 가시밀이 추록직다요 말이지. 용띠 그 찬이 로장잖아. 저는 잠불링이 추록 참아를 기디 말이지. 라고 사자 자사야지. 킬로 매와 상마 3년기 고사래서 파마래서 때때로 빼서 받지 못하고 가양 보착하다고 때로 오지나 서받지 못 착사를 저도 왜 하고 말이지 소소한 때랑 제가요 때가 다낭 지와지게 소치샘 다로 고도 다라고 마다로 라그샘 마다로 사지도나 마다버 센터 쳤다는 거요래 소소로 다낭 모으지거나 대선은 들이라고 교신이나 그때 무채 맞지 대야자 책같이 뭐지 라고 트레이닝 주도가 탐지라 제가 해야지.
And so for the practice of Guru Yoga, we have said that the essence of Guru devotion are the qualities of the Guru. And for that it all is summarized in one line, and that's most important to remember for the qualities, the essence of Guru devotion or Guru Yoga, and that is in order to develop those qualities, we need a pure perception and we need devotion. That's really most important, no matter what other people do or not do. And so now in this world, there's many different religions, and everyone in this world has both faults and also qualities, but we should really focus our attention on the good qualities of them. Because there is some people who don't have any religion at all, for example. So basically, anyone who follows any religion or spiritual path in this world should be seen as a Sangha, and when we see them, we should feel like joining our palms in respect. And then all those who have no spiritual direction, they are our objects of love and compassion. They are our parents. And when you only have those two kinds of beings, those of respect and those of compassion, then your mind will really feel very happy and very light and relaxed. And so this is what I personally practice, and that's why I feel that you will also feel very happy and relaxed if you practice in this way. And so the point of a pure perception is that you have to purify your own mind, not others' minds. So whether others are pure or impure, it doesn't really matter to you, because you have to purify your own mind. And if you do not purify your own mind, you will continue to become tied down and contracted by your impure mind. So if you have a pure perception and devotion to the Guru, then you will also be able to heed the Guru's instructions accordingly and exactly as the Guru had told you. So anyways, at this point, I would like to stop my Dharma friends.
Thank you.
Page number 17. Kariraven korve shen kamsa pendan deva malen jungwen he jenre zewang den zen jan so ye Shambe sendem paradam den yoran jeng Hon chokan de shaja senge Temban zen jeng paraven dan ye je Kun zan jeng ben don den chen len chok Lần đa giáp dân làm yam thế song Huân cho sam dân đàn nhiên đưa hông bè Thêm bàn gia lan đà đà thời ji Hiệp sơ na hoa yi Thiên cơ vô nhiên chok Ham Hel So Ham Be Yaranayan Levayim Dong Zazayang Arajirizan Yending Amben Lazen Yendayam Bam Maharadeng Arajeng Gadzeng Ajarandhem Yende Jaradeng Yandeng Hamdera Thalan Arajeng Davendra Yonje Reme Andembeng Arajeng Dangerayem Tembenyamang Arajeng Deso Bodhicitta, page number 21. You have Hebrew? 20.
עמוד 22 למטה. Om bodhicitta nalavikara im lo nolda lutivalen zu shenolda lulotindach elat sag vetifra
Chancho semjoramuni mhanye Todaraba.
Wow.